Virtual Insanity is a 1996 song by British artist Jamiroquai off his album Traveling Without Moving. The song describes the future of the world thanks to the existence and development of the internet. Some points made are a bit fantastical, such as the lyrics, "And now every mother can choose the color of her child." And that certainly isn't nature's way, but he does have a point. And it's a total banger. Really, what about our lives isn't virtual insanity? Everywhere you look, someone is on their phone. Or they're reading a text on their smartwatch. They're reading a book or an article on a tablet. They're writing spreadsheets and emails on a laptop. Or they're pretending they're writing spreadsheets and emails. Who knows? No matter what, they're using some form of modern technology. Even if their laptop is the age of a small child and barely runs, it's still more modern than this. More on that later. Technological advancements are happening all the time, but is it all good? Let me tell you a story. When I was on vacation over a spring break, I shared a hotel room with my little sister. It was just me and her, one bed, and a bedroom TV with channels. In the past, we've had options to log into YouTube, Netflix, etc. on a hotel TV. But this was different. We were limited. There were even channel options on the guide that when you clicked on them, they said they were unavailable. But we had the best time together. We watched Family Feud, Family Guy, South Park, stuff my parents would never put on normally, and we enjoyed it. When we got home, I missed it a little bit. I miss not being overwhelmed with unfamiliar choices, because at home we have nothing but streaming with thousands of options. And yeah, my parents brought their home Roku with them to the hotel and streamed content, and as genius as that seems, it seems to me personally like we're losing touch with the roots of television. Let me explain. Choice and decision-making is a stressful process. I think that can be acknowledged by pretty much everyone. It's in our everyday lives, choosing what to eat or where to eat, what you want to spend a free day doing, planning finances, mostly everything day to day is some kind of decision or option. Television in particular has evolved in a way that choice is almost like a rabbit hole. Cable was just pick a channel and catch the last 15 minutes of Wheel of Fortune before another episode comes on. Or if Wheel of Fortune was over, find the next best show that airs at 4 p.m. Streaming isn't as simple. You have to pick a service, which is overwhelming as is because there are so many. Say you land on Paramount Plus. You pay for this service every single month, and you hope to find the original 2004 SpongeBob movie. SpongeBob, as in the show, is on this service, so it should be there, right?
Wrong!
You do pay for this service, you expect it to have just what you want, but that's what streaming is for. That's what they advertise, but things get added and removed all the time. How is that a fair bargain for $10 or more a month? Think about it. It's really not. Or it also could be that I'm nostalgic for the days my family had cable. But still, if you're like me and don't explore a lot of new content, this is extremely frustrating. It's why I buy a lot of movies on DVD. And though I don't encourage you to break the bank on everything you've ever watched in compact disc form, it's the only way to own a piece of content permanently. Same thing goes for like tapes or CDs. And sometimes certain CD or DVD releases contain content that may not exist on demand online yet. On DVDs, things like commentaries and other special features of media that are considered obscure might not be sought after or known enough to have been digitally archived. This collector's edition of Pet Sematary has cast interviews that are not available online yet, and it can be so important that information like that is preserved. I also own 2 CD-ROMs that feature interactive parts. However, they are from the mid to late 90s, 1995 and 1997 respectively, and the tech they list to be used to access the content is far outdated. Remember that Macintosh I showed in the beginning? That's what they list for you to use if you want to view the files, as well as Windows 95 and Windows 3.1. That's old! Luckily, I've been able to recover quite a bit of what's on them to this cute little USB, and the only content that's missing in full is the functioning interactive parts on this disc in particular, such as the video game, as you can see described on the case, and in the files. It also took several program tests and hours upon hours of research to even view any of these files at all. But back to what, as of right now, I don't have: the interactive menu and the video game. There's no record of what it looks like online, and that, to the internet, can be considered a little something called lost media. Lost media is exactly what it sounds like. It's media that has been rumored, remembered, or confirmed to exist, but is not viewable or accessible to the public. Things like TV show episodes or pilots, deleted or unreleased video game content, many different forms of music and movies, and so much more have been lost to time or due to errors or cancellation. There are massive communities dedicated to finding these things, and that's a big deal in terms of preserving the history of media as a whole. Seeing how a show changed from its pilot to what aired, or how different music demos can sound from the final, are all super important examples of the evolution of media. This is the pilot for the show Super Why, made for Nick Jr., and here's what the show actually became, airing on PBS Kids instead. Very different style and channel entirely. And up until mid-2023, the full pilot was completely lost. On the other hand, there are cases like A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, can you guys tell I like SpongeBob? An unauthorized mockumentary that was considered lost until the people credited for it were contacted. The company behind it, Regal Films, was theorized to most likely be a money laundering scheme, though the filmmaker of the specific project denied that claim, and the script for it was released. After the scripts were published, the search was halted and the status is left as unproduced on the Lost Media Wiki. But besides media that doesn't truly exist, bits and pieces of very real media history are being discovered, recovered, and preserved all the time. And if it wasn't for such a dedicated community, nobody would know if things do or don't actually exist somewhere. But many things, old or new, still remain in the void, sadly. Even things as modern as 2018 onward, such as Minecraft Story Mode, formerly on Netflix, has become lost after it was taken off the service in 2022 due to licensing becoming expired. It was an interactive series that I myself pretty vividly remember toying around with on our smart TV, but as I'm writing this, only 5 completed episodes in all languages released have been preserved online. A lot of what I've said in this video may not make sense, so let me regroup it for you, and make it all come together a little better. Live television broadcast is becoming somewhat of a lost art thanks to streaming. TV becoming widely underappreciated, and physical media becoming even more widely underappreciated and even ignored causes more and more lost media to exist. Though it's not just limited to past forms of entertainment like the Minecraft Story Mode case I talked about. Even before bringing that up, I briefly mentioned constant additions and removals of content on streaming platforms. All of it. All content, the entire digital plane is one big complicated spirograph, but it still comes back around eventually and meets at one spot. Just like how the history of the world tends to repeat itself. History of the digital era should be treated similarly to global artifact history. It is just as relevant to keep up with changing technology as it is to continue studying ancient Egyptian tablets with coded writing, or completing large prehistoric skeletons. Even just keeping those artifacts in a locked case is a step in the right direction. And sure, you could argue that fossils and the livelihoods of past generations are more important, but tech is how we live our lives now, no? Everywhere you look, there's someone reading a text, or emailing their boss, or reading an article online. We need to remember that every second we're alive, we're still continuing making history, even if the future is made of virtual insanity. Thanks for watching.